Onions, Chapter 3, Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Williams lived on 14th Avenue in a small white stucco house with a white picket fence and flowers along the front porch. There were only two bedrooms, so C.W. had to share a bedroom with the other two kids. The baby stayed with its mother in her bedroom. C.W.'s current foster mother was in her 30s, plump, with a careworn face. Her disheveled blonde hair hadn't been coiffed for months due to a lack of funds. It was after 8 p.m. when C.W. limped through the door. Mrs. Williams was in the kitchen preparing late dinner. Her two boys were watching a cartoon on TV in the living room. As her new boarder entered, she looked over. "It's nearly 8, Charles," she said with an edge to her voice. "You know I want you to come right home after school, so what's your excuse this time?" I'm sorry, Mrs. Williams. I'm sorry. I met a woman on the way home, a Mrs. Fuller. She gave me a job." She looked at C.W. a moment. "What kind of job?" "Well, it's something about the dome. We were picketing at City Hall, handing out flyers and stuff." "I know about the dome. What was she picketing? Why?" "Well, she doesn't like it. She wants people to vote no on the bond issue." Mrs. Williams shrugged as she pulled macaroni onto a plate. "Well, I think it's a good idea. I don't know why she doesn't like it." A pause, then, "How much did she pay you?" C.W. thought before he answered. He'd already spent $2.40 of the 5. "Well, it was a couple of dollars, I guess." "Give it to me. You know I want you to get a steady job. We just don't have enough to feed the 3 kids and now you. State don't give me enough to pay for your costs. You're a big kid. You require a lot of food." C.W. handed Mrs. Williams $2. "She said I could come and work for her on Saturdays. She's going to pay me $1.50 an hour," he said, fibbing again about the amount. "Good," Mrs. Williams said as she placed the food on the kitchen table. "I can sure use the money. Get washed up. Dinner's pretty late tonight. The kids are really hungry." C.W. went into his bedroom and removed the comics from under his belt. He stuffed them under the mattress where he knew they'd be safe. C.W. was seated at the end of the dinner table. Whitney, the 6-year-old, was seated to his right. Arlie, age 2, was sitting between his mom and his brother. C.W. stared at his plate, poking at his food. He didn't like macaroni and cheese or salad. Suddenly, Whitney grabbed his younger brother's slice of white bread. "Mama, Mama!" Arlie yelled. "He stole my bread!" "Whitney, give that back, now!" Mrs. Williams spoke sternly. Whitney tossed the bread back on his brother's plate. C.W. hated being around younger kids, especially in a new foster home. They were never nice, never treated him with respect or awareness of how he felt. Long ago, he'd given up any desire to be understood or commiserated with. He'd learned from his birth mother not to look for or want sympathy or even an understanding smile. Life was hard, and C.W. had accepted that fact. It made him a good fighter when boys tried to bully him. He'd learned it didn't matter how big a bully was. If C.W. took care of him at the first smart aleck remark or push or threatening look, the bully never bothered him again. C.W.'s favorite punch was a sharp slam to the belly, and he always hit with everything he had. Sometimes he had to follow up with a jab to the face, but usually the quick body blow did the job. C.W. didn't like fighting. He never wanted to fight. But he was alone. He didn't have a big brother to back him up or support him or talk to him or make him feel wanted. He had accepted his lot in life and never looked for anything but a blow or a snub. So he was always ready to be the first one to do the snubbing or the slamming. How'd you get the limp? Mrs. Williams asked. I fell off my skateboard. There was a big crack in the sidewalk. Mrs. Williams nodded. There's a lot of those in Lozan. The mayor and the city council are more interested in building golf courses and country clubs than dealing with us riffraff. She studied him a moment. You be careful, Charles. I don't want no hospital bills coming at me. Do you hear? C.W. nodded. Yeah, okay, he said as the baby started to cry. I got to change this one, Mrs. Williams said. She picked up the baby and walked toward the bedroom. She turned back. I got some Ben Gay for that injury. I'll get it for you. As she exited to the bedroom and closed the door, Whitney catapulted a macaroni tube at C.W. with his spoon. It hit the new border in his hair and stuck there. Instantly, C.W. grabbed a handful of macaroni and threw them with all his might at the boy, hitting him in the face. Whitney's face fell as C.W. got up. You do that again, Whitney. I'll see to it that your head's cut off, he said with his meanest face. Obviously shaken, Whitney looked back at his plate, kept his eyes down. Yeah, I'll have it sliced right off and it'll be real bloody. There's a big black monster in the closet. Your closet. I've seen him in there a couple of times. He won't mess with me because I'm too big, but he loves to slice up little kids like you and your brother and eat them. So you better watch it, kid, and you better say nothing to your mother. I'll have him slice her head off, and your little brother's head, and your baby sister's head too. He'll do what I say, and if I say chop their heads off, he'll chop, 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 chop. Whitney ran into his bedroom and shut the door. C.W. sat back down with a sigh and took a bite of bread. It was tasteless, but so what? So was life. But when he quieted down, he realized that he felt good, real good. Felicia Hardy was waiting.